All right, you'll have questions for TJ.
After a game like that, I guess, what are the emotions in the locker room, and what's your evaluation of the whole 50 minutes, I guess?
Yeah, I think, I guess first in the locker room, I mean, certainly a lot of disappointment. BYU deserves a lot of credit how they came in here and how they played. And at the same time, we knew we had our chances. We knew we had our opportunities. I think so that should be frustrating. And then what you do is you learn from it and you become better for it. In terms of the game itself, certainly the last 7-8 minutes of the first half and the first 7-8 minutes of the second half, whatever it was, when we dug ourselves a hole where we're down 21, unacceptable on our end to allow our offensive disappointment to permeate our defense. And I felt like we were careless in transition defense. We were not as locked in, and we dug ourselves a substantial hole. And so I think that is where the game, to me, was more decided over that 15, 16-minute stretch where we put ourselves in such a tough spot. And, credit to our guys in their fight for continuing to compete and get back into it. But at the same time, you can't do that. You can't do that against good teams. You've got to have more pride. It's a lesson that we should have learned by now and that we need to never learn again. We need to understand, the truth is there's going to be times where we struggle to score. There's going to be times where the offense isn't flowing, and we saw what our defense can be when we focus on prioritizing that, and we've just got to do a better job of being over ourselves and out of our agenda offensively and pour everything into defending and rebounding, and we'll put ourselves in a much better spot.
I think consistency was a hallmark for you guys for a long stretch this year. That does not seem to be the case over however long a stretch you want to say. Is it as simple as the guys in and out of the lineup, or is there more to it than that?
No, I think ultimately, you develop a confidence, with a group, and when a guy goes out and comes back in, you don't just go right back to where you were necessarily. And I'll still say, we played great. I felt like on Saturday was one of our best games of the year in terms of start to finish, and I thought we played terrific. So, as you mentioned, the consistency, I think you're going to play to the level that you practice, and we have everybody healthy, everybody's available, and we need to earn it on the practice court together. That's what we did early in the year, and when we came out, played as well as we did early in the year, we earned it on the practice court. We've lost some of that, the consistency of having everybody in practice, but it shouldn't impact our effort and our play. Everybody's got a responsibility, starting with me, to uphold that level in how we practice. So, we're down the stretch pretty far. We talked to our guys a lot about our best being in front of us. You don't just speak it into existence. You've got to earn it through the hard work and what you do in practice, and then demand that consistency of those habits in the game, and not be a team that, plays great for stretches and then plays awful for stretches. Because for a group that has a lot of older, experienced guys, we need to be a lot more mature as a team and be able to play through those things instead of react to those things.
TJ, what you talked about, and you've touched on it before, the offense affecting the defense. Does that go back even before they made their run? Because you guys could have maybe, if you get more shots to fall, been up 12-14 instead of 7-9. And did that then wear on them a little bit that they hadn't built a bigger lead?
Yeah, they were the more, again, we set the tone physically, defensively right from the jump. And then they had adjusted and they drove the ball with more force, especially in transition and more physically. And to their credit, that got them back into the game, or that got them, helped them build a margin. We weren't as tough as we needed to be. We were more of a mindset of begging for a foul or hoping for a foul, where they were driving it with more force. So there was that stretch in there that, it took a lot out of us mentally, but they were mentally tougher in terms of fighting through that stretch. It was a physical game, and they drove the ball with physical force. We at times have felt like settled and didn't get the best shots we could. So it wasn't necessarily like shots just weren't falling. It was we weren't being tough enough to get the shots we needed to get to be successful. So all the running, floating, those type of things need to be out of our repertoire, and you need to just demand what you want. So, Yeah, I mean, all of it takes its toll on you mentally, but ultimately, I mean, you just can't put yourself at that deficit by making the same mistake over and over again, and we've got to learn from it, and again, it's unfortunate because, you know, they're a really good team, and all the credit to them, and at the same time, you know, we did things to put ourselves in tough spots, and that's not a recipe for success.
It's one of those things, the rebounding battle, because you force 29 turnovers, but they out-rebound you by 28. It seems to kind of sort of counter that excellence.
Yeah, and look, I think our you know, we turned them over more because we were playing faster, quicker lineups, and we were able to pressure the basketball. And so then what you give up is a little bit of size and physicality on the glass. At the same time, I know our guys are competitors, and it can't be every shot that they miss in, you know, the end of regulation and both overtimes, they get the rebound on. I mean, it just can't happen. Like, it's not okay. So the guys that we played in those stretches, you know, they did a great job pressuring the ball and generating turnovers when we could, but we've got to do a great job finishing on the glass, and that's just the way it is, and we didn't. And it's not just, hey, Kata's getting all these rebounds, you know, because there's times Joshua's got to rotate over, and there's times guards have to rebound down, and then there's a part of defensive rebounding that if you want to win bad enough, you just find a way to get them, regardless of what's going on. And they had more fight on the glass to get the offensive rebound than we did to get the defensive rebound, unfortunately.
What made Joshua the guy you wanted to get the ball to late in this game?
He does such a great job, you know, creating an advantage, getting to the rim, getting to the foul line. Obviously shot 13 free throws, and then he's such a terrific passer as well. And so he's just the guy you trust in those situations. And then when you look at matchups and who they had on the court, we felt like, you know, that was a big advantage for us that we could capitalize on. And Joshua has continued to be a really great player for us and prove over and over that if you put the ball in his hands, great things are going to happen.
TJ, just how disappointed were you with the start of the overtime periods, just falling, you come back all the way and then you just fall back in 4-point holes to start?
Yeah, no, the mental focus, again, you get yourself back into it, you're in overtime, and then as you mentioned, like both overtimes we start at deficit right away. It's almost like maintaining that consistency of mindset, has got to be more important to us. And again, we kept doing things, credit to them and everything that they did, but again, you can't just keep putting yourself in a hole to dig yourself out of it. Obviously, the last one we put ourselves in, we couldn't. So, I don't know, we've just got to be more consistent, and we've got to be mentally tougher over 40 minutes. I think that's the biggest challenge for our team right now, is not to talk about it, it's to practice a certain way, and then for 40 minutes demand it from one another that we all leave it on the court and keep the focus where it needs to be.
And you already touched on the rebounding, but with your small ball lineups, just what do you think of their effectiveness overall? It seemed like that was kind of a key catalyst in the second half and the rest of the game.
Yeah, no, it was great for us. I mean, we were able to switch at times, which is good, that way. Joshua can switch on the guards. It was able to keep faster guys on their guys so we could disrupt and get into the basketball more, which is what allowed us to turn them over 29 times. They're a team that takes great care of the ball, and we were able to turn them over. So, I mean, again, you get to points in the game, and there's a lineup in certain guys that are earning, those minutes in real time because of what they're doing to get you back into the game. And ultimately, if we would have found a way to rebound the basketball or not get down right away to start each overtime because of mental focus, we'd have put ourselves in a great spot. Unfortunately, we didn't do that.
Last question.
You talked about the biggest thing being to find more consistency and be mentally tougher over 40 minutes. How do you do that at this time of the season where, it's been a long year and you guys have been successful and you've had some moments of struggling as well?
Yeah, I think it's ultimately you just decide mentally that's what you're going to do. You don't need to ease into it. You don't need to talk about it. You just need to keep your mental focus and not have whatever's not going your way offensively get to you. So, again, I know that it's late in the season, but we just showed last week we played poorly on Tuesday and came out and played great on Saturday. It's really a mindset thing of how much do you want to do it, how committed are you to your habits, how much does winning mean more to you than your shot going in or what your turnovers or what may not be going your way, if you prioritize winning in the team as the most important thing, then you make that choice and you commit to it. And that's what we're going to demand in practice, and that's what's going to show up for us on Saturday, and that's what we're going to do immediately. There's not going to be any take our time into it, ease into it. We're done with the inconsistent thing. We're done with the individual agendas offensively, and it's time for us to start playing to the level of the team that we know we are.